Ava Raine. If that name isn't that familiar to you, maybe Simone Johnson might be, the daughter of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, on Tuesday on NXT, you know where I'm going with this, she had her second televised match. Now, she was very much hidden.
Now, tell everybody who this Ava Raine is.
No, she is the daughter. I think she may be the eldest daughter of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. She actually signed with WWE back in 2020. Then she ended up having 2 knee surgeries. And then it was announced publicly that her new name would be Ava Raine, because apparently you can't, even The Rock's daughter can't have her own name, in October 2022. So I'm assuming...
She could be, wait a minute, she could be the Rockette.
Yeah, from New York.
See? Yeah. And go out there and do like at Broadway, the Rockettes, you know, they're out dancing. Where is it? Music City.
Isn't that Broadway kind of affair?
Yeah, it is. Where they do that.
Well, the Rockettes and King Kong, or might be confusing that with the Simpsons parody. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh.
Excuse me, my coughing. She was on TV. She did a second televised wrestling match. She was part of a 6-person tag team, and she was saved till the end. She was only in there for, a minute and a half? She's been training for the best part of a year. What did you think of her performance?
Well, this is a project that could very well backfire into WWE's face. By her being the biological daughter of Dwayne Johnson, she's expected to have certain athletic talents that she just doesn't have. This is no knock on her, but she's been training for a solid year.
Getting towards there, at least 9 months.
Over 9 months, 9 months. And she had her knee surgeries before she started training the last run. So we can't even blame it on the knee surgeries, but she's very, very green. And again, this is no knock on her. She is learning, and in her own head, she may say, she knows a certain level of expertise is expected of her, and she knows she's not there. But what I'm saying is, when she gets in the ring, and I would say she's at least another 18 months, 2 years away from even being considered of being brought up to the regular roster. And once she gets there now, once you get there, you say, oh, well, I made it. No, you haven't made it. You temporarily made it, but now you got all this body of work ahead of you. And you're going to be judged every time out on your adequacy to even be in a ring. So I wish her luck. I don't particularly like her name, Ava Raine. I don't know.
Stinks, doesn't it?
Stinks. I don't think it sounds that good. It may have been Ava Stinks. Might be a better name for her, but I think Rock wouldn't allow her to be on TV right now because it reflects poorly on him and the family. So we'll see where this goes. She's had 2 matches, and I would like to say what I would do with her is take her somewhere where nobody knows who she is and just let her wrestle 3 or 4 days a week under a mask if I had to, just to keep people from, zeroing in on her and, really messing up her head a little bit. But where she's going to learn is it's actually where I learned. I would just make all these little independent shows. They might have 20 people out there, or 30 people, or maybe more. But when it got up to 50, hell, it was like a sellout. But that's where you learn to walk to that ring, listen to the people, determine the temperature of the room, and adjust your performance that night according to what the people are popping on. you go to comedian shows, right? You ever see them walk around the ring? I mean, walking around the stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always. Do you know what they always do? All the comedy shows I've been, whether it's like Ricky Gervais or Russell Brand or Al Murray, I know you don't know who he is, or Jason Manford, my local comedian, and they always start talking to the audience, and they say, "You sir, what's your name?" And then they come up with a joke or whatever, and then they'll go, "You sir, what's your name?" And they just sort of get like how much people are laughing, what they're reacting to, and then just exactly.
They're reading the room, and they're picking their corners, and they say, they're trying to find the funny corner is what they say, and you go out and you make small talk. When I did I did about, 5, 6 stand-up routines. And I started off and I have a piece of paper and I said, I don't know why they gave me this to read. For the owner of a 2014 something Prius green with tag number so-and-so, please remove it from the parking lot. It's not blocking anyone. It's just a piece of shit. And I would always start it, and that would get a little laugh. And then I'd just go ahead and read the room. And of course, they were there to hear wrestling stuff. So I oriented most of it to a lot of wrestling stuff. And it worked. I would draw of course, I wouldn't draw 500 people, but I'd draw 100 people. And the way it was, I really liked the way they did the split. You know how they did the split? 50-50.
Huh?
No. Some of them did 90-10. I'd take 90 and they'd take 10. That's a great deal. Or 80-20. I'd go for that deal. And I'd stay out there. They want you out there about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I'd go out there and I'd get to talking to them. They'd get to talking back. We'd have this conversation going back and forth. I'd go an hour and a half, and the guy'd be in the back said, cut it. We got to sell some drinks, you stupid bastard. And then I'd get out of there. But I enjoyed it. And I may start those back probably next summer or this summer, and let's see where it leads to.
Definitely. I'd go to that. I need an excuse to get out of this country. I would.
I'd have you thrown out.
No, you wouldn't. I'd be under a hood and I'd be Ava Raine. I'd say that was my name.
You'd be a heckler.
I'd be a stage invader. I will make mention of this, right? I'm sure people will give me a couple more examples, but I mean, how long has the Performance Centre been open? Like 2012 or something like that? Over 10 years. I'm gonna give you this, right? So
I think it's been open 20 years.
No. With I think 2012 was Performance Centre. Yeah, the new one.
But they had one before that. They had several.
That was Florida Championship Wrestling, and then before that was OVW and Heartland and everything else. But if we just take the Performance Centre, so if we don't include like wrestlers from the NXT game show, if we don't include Florida Championship Wrestling with Dr. Tom, or anyone who had considerable indie experience beforehand, who really is the Performance Centre churned out who was an actual star? There was Sasha Banks, maybe Charlotte Flair, Bronson Rex-Steiner, maybe a couple of others, but it's been over 10 years. They invest so much and they get so little out of it.
I don't get it. This is where Vince screwed things up. When they had territories, they developed your talent. But when he started running all the territories out of business.
One sec, someone's at my door. Sorry, I just had to run. I just had to run away there. So I'm recording. I just had to run away there because there was a parcel at the door. So sorry. This is where you blame Vince McMahon for killing the territory system.
Well, not necessarily Vince directly, because I think he gets a lot of flack. That's not necessary. See, when he had the territories, he had a place to develop talent. When he had Florida, that's where he picked up Dusty Rhodes, and he picked up a lot of talent out of Florida and WCW too. Mm-hmm. And of course, you had Barry Windham. He picked him up, and the Russian Nikita Koloff, WCW picked him up because that's where he got his seasoning under Dusty which was a great place to learn to wrestle. And Dusty would watch you every night. And the fans in Florida were they were really, really good. So when you go out there and you come back, it was like you took a test every night. Even when I was there, nobody took me under their wing, so to speak, but I would go out there. And this is when my education in professional wrestling started. We would drive to Miami, which was close to 300 miles. So if I had any questions, I could ask whoever I was riding with, or two guys, whoever I was riding with, and they'd tell me what they thought. And we weren't pressed for time. And then we would talk about other stuff. But after the matches were over and on the way back, that's when my schooling began. Mm-hmm. And they say, don't do this and don't do that. And what the F is that? What are you doing? Pay attention. But I always heard this: listen to the people, and they'll tell you what you're doing is right, or they don't much care for it. So, but Vince, when he started running Texas and run the Texas promotion out of business. He would run Florida twice a year, the big towns, and he'd have TV all over the state. And the smaller scale TVs that didn't have the money to put in their TV, of course, they couldn't compare to what WWF was putting out. And he just ran them out of business. And in so doing, he lost his training facility, which cost him no money. Yeah, he lost, and it didn't cost him any money. So when they decided to put up a training center, and they've had them in Louisville, they've had them in Memphis, they've had them in Atlanta, but you had 3 different ones. So they decided they would, put them all together and put them in Orlando. But if you look at what they produced, they've really not produced that much. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys go every day. And to me, that's the way to get burnt out on wrestling, is train every day. Because you're not training in front of people, you're training in front of other students. Of course, they're not going to react to what you're doing because they're in competition with you. But I think the best thing they can do is, I don't know. I don't much like what do they call that? What center?
The Performance Center.
Performance Center. They have put nobody out of there. I guess they put the Shield out. They put out
that was Florida. That was Florida Championship Wrestling before NXT, or before the Performance Center.
It was kind of the same thing. But the newest iteration of the training center, it's produced nothing. We talked about this, I think, last week, 2 weeks ago. The best one they could bring out of there is Dexter Loomis, because he has a character that's fully fed by fans, because he doesn't talk that much, if at all, and he's a fan invention. But back to Ava Raine, she needs a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could critique I just want to say this very quickly, and then we'll move on to the Iron Sheik. But when me and my friends, when we were 12, when we were doing body slams, we'd do it the same way. We'd sort of instead of going for the body slam, first we'd get the arm, and then we'd put it over our shoulder, and then like that. And it's... Anyway, so there we go. That's what I was going to say. We're going to move on.
Was that it?
That was it. Because, well, no one professional does a body slam like that. You just slam them. but when you're a kid doing it and trying to imitate it, you do it like in an 8-stage process, like grab arm, post off my knee.
How many times do you think somebody broke their arm, broke their leg, broke their neck or shoulder trying to do a wrestling move in the bedroom? I bet more than what you hear.
A lot more than what you hear. But when the WWF was getting really popular, then all of a sudden, some kid broke his neck because his bigger brother tried to do a pile drive on him, that kind of thing. Those stories started coming out when the WWF clearly had a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.